Now, as government continues to race against time to complete renegotiation of its debt stock to help it secure a board-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund, members of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum are continuing their picketing of the Ministry of Finance to drum home their request for a complete exemption from the domestic debt exchange program. The picketing, which started last week, has seen retirees throng the ministry premises calling on government to hear their cries. Retired Chief Justice Ofe Akufo, who participated in the picketing last week, urged the government to listen to the plight of the retirees. We understand that the retirees will be converging at the ministry this morning to still continue their demands. Now, we'll be speaking to James Aveji shortly, but in the meantime, we understand that government has secured 80% subscription of its domestic debt exchange program. George Weafe of Joy Business joins me in studio with some details on this, George. So last Friday was the deadline for people to subscribe. What do we know after that day?
That is the administrative window the government opened for those who are in the process to participate in this offer. What we are picking up from those who had knowledge of this whole transaction is the government has secured the more than 80%. If you work it out, somewhere around 86% in terms of participation.
86. In
terms of the participation in this offer. And one interesting thing is that this also excludes pension funds as well. It's interesting, and you want to take note of that one. It included some individuals who participated in this offer. But one thing that maybe helped push to get this target, or to get what we are picking up from those who have knowledge of this whole transaction, is that you had almost all the major commercial banks participating in this offer, the insurance firms as well, and also the securities industry. And that could be the reason why they've gotten this percentage. Where as at Friday or even Thursday evening, in terms of monetary-wise, the value, we're looking at somewhere around 90 billion Ghana cedis in terms of persons that have tendered in their bonds to be part of this whole new arrangement. And if it had not been issues about the exemptions that has been granted to these pension funds, government could have hit even over 90% or so. But this is based on the cleaning up is still ongoing because necessary settlements and all the rest. But this is what we picked up as at Friday, that this is what government has gotten for this whole debt exchange program.
What was the target of government?
Well, government was looking at making 80% in terms of participation to describe this whole offer as successful. So if they have about 86% now, then could you describe it? Well, these things, just like an IPO results, certain things could happen last minute that could bring the numbers down or could shift the numbers up when you are doing the auditing and all the rest. But again, that's why I'm insisting that this was as at Friday. The cleaning up is still ongoing for them to give us the fine details in terms of the results, possibly today. And let's see whether they will come and confirm what we have picked up, or it might be dispute what we put up.
A bit of clarity. Normally, when we say pension funds, people misconstrue that to be individual pension bondholders. Is that it, or is the pension funds as in what was communicated in December when TUC or organized labor went to them?
I think that what I understand is that all those bonds that are more of institutional pension. So, for instance, you and I, we have contributed some pension funds as well. Those ones have been taken out as well. So it has to do with all those pension funds.
And that, not the individual pensioner bondholders.
I think that from what I picked up, and again, I was still want to insist, as at last Friday, it has nothing to do with if you are a pensioner and you have a bond in. It doesn't mean that. It means that all those institutional pension funds have been taken out of it. Could government come in later for a different arrangement for them? I think I'll say never, because it looks like maybe something will be done for them in terms of going forward and how to restructure this whole debt. But as we speak right now, as of last Friday, they were excluded from this whole arrangement, and that is why government has gotten this amount of subscription payment in this whole offer. Again, if you engage those who are working on this and even you push government hard on the exemption, what you get in response is that, and whilst they are insisting that this is a voluntary program. So again, Brace, what you get from sources and persons within government and you push hard, if you didn't sign up, what we are picking up again is that government is going to meet its obligations to you.
Okay.
And you realize that that's what the bondholders were pushing very hard, that exempt yourself. And it appears that those obligations will be met to you. Maybe the problem might be, because that's what we're trying to push hard to put the issues about why don't you exempt these pension bondholders with respect to their concerns. And again, this is what we have picked up from them, is that they are going to meet all obligations to persons that didn't even sign up.
Okay.
The big challenge will be the tradability of your bond. So if you have about maybe 50,000 worth of bonds, maybe as time goes on, you want to exit out of the market because of a challenge and you want all your money at once. Maybe that the challenge is that that market has been closed as we speak right now. So getting an opportunity to trade that bond officially might be a challenge. In other markets where you have a very developed market, there are some persons, their job, or private investors, who have to buy these bonds that could be classified as junk bonds, and they will trade it on. But our market is not that developed, and all those things. And again, let us not take away from the concerns that are being expressed by some of these individual bondholders. I believe that they have a very, very genuine concern. They have a real issues. I think the challenge...
So what you're saying is that if I'm a bondholder, either a pensioner bondholder or an individual bondholder, and I didn't sign up to this DDE program, government is going to...
That is what we understand
obligations
to you when the coupons are deemed.
Okay.
Some would ask that, hey, what are you talking about? The 4th February one that matured about 4 billion. What we've also picked up is that, I mean, when this offer closes and things are settled in terms of how things were done and everything, government is going to meet its obligations to that bond that actually matured on the 4th of February. I understand that another one is coming up on the 16th of February as well. We also understand when we are pushing to get some fine details is that government says that they are going to make that commitment to all these bondholders.
Do we have the funds to do that?
Well, when it comes to other obligations, government manages to get funds to do that as well. So these things are very critical. I'm just saying that time will just tell with respect to some of these things that we here at our decks are pushing very hard to get fine details from those who are handling the process and those who are in government and those who work on this space and speak in this space. And I believe that this is what they are saying. Maybe very soon they will come out, and let's see whether we can hold them against their word and whether they will meet all these obligations.
What then does it mean to government's effort to get the board level agreement from the IMF?
I mean, before that, even Tuesday as well, they'll come out with what they call the settlement as well, because you have tendered in your bond, a new bond is supposed to be issued to you as well, the terms, which actually was captured in the Memorandum of Understanding. Now, don't forget that this whole debt that we are talking about is both domestic and external one. Government had earlier announced that they have frozen the interest payments on these external papers, and also, so what it means now that if we're able to go clear the domestic space, don't forget the Minister of Finance is supposed to go to Parliament on Thursday as well. We don't know what will happen in terms of the briefings and the engagement, and what that would also mean for this whole domestic debt exchange program. But what it means that the government might now move to engage the foreign bondholders. It appears again that when you engage persons who have these institutional investors outside, it appears that they are for this whole domestic debt exchange program, because it appears that they are better off if something is done and they can trade their papers and then move on all the way. So it appears that government might not face that much challenge when it comes to the external bondholders. Even if you look at the bit about the debt cancellation bit, we understand that the Paris Club, they've agreed in principle to engage government on some agreement that could possibly lead to debt cancellation as well. So if they're able to make some significant progress, don't forget that at that side, the IMF has also come on board trying to engage some of these countries and the institutional investors, the bilaterals who have lent some money to government about this whole restructuring thing. So if they close the domestic space, they close the external page, then they might be on their way to go to the IMF. But there are some preconditions that government has to meet as well. One of them, the publication of the covered funds that was done recently, was actually an IMF staff level agreement precondition. Because within the IMF itself, there is an internal agency, more of like ethics independent committee, that raised questions about how covered funds was used by the IMF to support member countries. And the insistence was that every country that benefited from the IMF fund should publish publicly to let them have a fair idea about how these funds were used as well. So that is one of them. There is also the utility tariffs as well that has been done. We also have some restructuring of the extractives as well that also has to be done. And then the Bank of Ghana and Government of Ghana zero financing. We appears that they are also making some progress. So if they're able to meet all these pre-board conditions, then they can table the formal request to the IMF board. They look at it, they've gotten the assurance from all these creditors that we are in Ghana's sole financing arrangement.
Everything will be fine.
Then the economists will say, all other things being equal, the board could approve Ghana's program first quarter end.
When, aside Thursday, when are we expecting the finance minister to make an announcement on what we've discussed?
I don't know what the structure that it would take coming from the Ministry of Finance or government. Could it be a press statement? Could it also be that, listen, we are dealing with individuals, so every individual that signed up to this, as well as the institutional investors, the report will be sent to you at that level. So we still do not know what form it's going to take, whether it will be a reply through the email, through your investment advisors, your banks that actually sign on behalf of you. So in terms of the form that it will take, we still don't know. Will the minister want to wait till it goes to Parliament on Thursday? We also don't know as well. So in terms of the fine details as in how these things will be structured in terms of the announcement, we are still working to see how we can get those fine details.
George, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
George UFA is with Joy Business. Now, meanwhile, convener for the Individual Bondholders Forum, Senor Jose, has described the 5 days picketing of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum as immaterial. According to Senor Jose, the government has already provided the liberty to individuals to sign on to the new terms in the debt exchange program or hold on to the old ones. He added that the government has also indicated its readiness to honor the terms of the old bonds should individuals decide to hold on to them. Based on this, Senor Jose believes there was no need for any group to demand a definite pronouncement of exemption from the government.
On the issue of the picketing in particular, it's an immaterial activity relative to this DDE. It's great with the advocacy and the optics of it. The finance minister was clear to something, and let's just face it. All his press releases post our advocacy jointly that one, individuals were free to participate. He also said two, if you decide to hold on to your old bonds, I will pay. Three, he has also said that he can't guarantee what happens on the secondary market. The truth is that the finance minister has never guaranteed the tradability or the liquidity on the secondary market. So that submission itself was moot. Then, four, right here, if you want to participate, these are the options you have. I think that we were asking too much from the minister. He has said that you are free not to participate.
Why was it important then to exempt others?
It wasn't important to exempt anybody because technically he hadn't exempted anybody till the DD of DD3.
No.